Mississippi State, number 16, stays there in the college football playoff rankings. Alabama, number 2, also stays put. So nothing has changed with the second release of the college football playoff at this point now, Steve. But then again, nothing has changed about the intensity of this ball game as the Bulldogs get ready to host Alabama.
It's true, David. And let's be honest. Mississippi State is not expected to make the FBS playoff. And of course, Ohio State worked its way up from 16, but they had some real opportunities there. And the Bulldogs have a big one on Saturday. The main objective for the Bulldogs is to stay the highest-ranked SEC team in the FBS playoff ranking that doesn't make the playoffs, which would open up some big things in the bowl picture for Dan Mullen and his team.
Of course, Saturday's a huge day in the Southeastern Conference as number 2 Alabama comes to number 16 Mississippi State. But of course, across the state line, Auburn and Georgia will be playing, and that's another top 10 now, number 1 against number 10. This is a big day for the SEC, and Alabama has the advantage of watching the results from the first game against their closest competitors.
That's very true, David. And as Georgia has already clinched the SEC East, so they're locked in for Atlanta. Auburn could kind of throw a wrench in things as far as the SEC goes because a lot of people expect the SEC to get 2 teams into the playoffs. It's a real possibility. So if Auburn, who could be an 8-4 team or could be a 9-3 team, there's a lot of big things at stake for them. If they could somehow upset Georgia and then go on to that big showdown in Iron Bowl, they could be a real factor in things as well. But Alabama, as you mentioned, will know exactly kind of what's at stake when they take the field Saturday.
Of course, 3 years ago, Mississippi State went to Tuscaloosa, the number 1 ranked team in the country. Alabama, who was in top 5 at the time, showed their experience playing as a top-ranked team and came out with I think a 6-point final, 5-point final. State just started that game terribly, and a lot of it had to do, we still believe, with how intense the Bulldogs were in their practice week. It was just talking to players, talking to coach, anybody, it was just almost a concentration camp mindset. Everything was locked down, and I think it carried over to the game. Last year, of course, the Bulldogs were very loose, but they knew it was not a realistic matchup. What have you seen from the mentality of the players, the attitude they present, and the coaches talking to us media this week?
Well, it's a different era in the building, David. You harken back to 2014. Even us as media would walk in the building and you could feel the walls kind of constricting in on you. It's a much different dynamic. I believe these Bulldogs are excited and somewhat confident about the matchup. I don't think anybody is predicting a win, but I certainly expect the Bulldogs to go out there and compete.
And that says a lot about the mindset of the Bulldogs now that they've bounced back from 2 defeats and have a 4-game winning streak going into this game. And they know they have everything to gain for this, but they have learned in the recent years under Coach Dan Mullen to play more comfortable with pressure on them. So come Saturday, we'll see, 6 o'clock, number 2 Alabama, number 16 Mississippi State.